Hey guys, Terracer here with another video. I'm bringing to you Teamfight Breakdown number 9 featuring TSM vs Unicorns of Love. I like this fight because it showcases some of TSM's flaws with the way they approached the match for an otherwise very dominant team. And there was a lot of pushing and pulling over the course of a few seconds during the fight. TSM is a team who relies on their solo laners to crush lane with a higher than average amount of jungle pressure. They also like to save counter picks for the mid lane, while Darius usually blind picks a tank or a lane bully. TSM as a team lives and dies by Bjergson, and it really shows this game. The early kill on Bjergson and getting solo killed multiple times affected him and his ability to micro and lead his other teammates around the map. Meanwhile, during the LCS, he's rarely challenged that hard in lane and quite often wins, making it very easy for him to lead the team. It is, however, another story of who should step up and shot call for TSM when Bjerg isn't having the best game. But UoL did a good job of exploiting a weakness which many teams have. Anyways, as we get into the team compositions, TSM was looking to poke out the enemy team with Xerath, drop a Pantheon ult to group people, Rumble ult on top of it, and Sivir ult to rush to Pantheon's aid. This composition isn't the best, and I would recommend trying to substitute Jarvan for the jungle and Braum for the support as they push TSM's teamfight further at the cost of a little early game ganking power, which Jarvan still is very good at, and Janna's great disengage, which Braum can manage decently with the shield and ultimate. TSM could have also blind picked something like Syndra, Lissandra, Karma, and Ahri, some of which offer a poke like Xerath or other utilities like Karma's AoE speed up. And all of these champions Bjergson has shown at least some proficiency on, and none of which were banned. As for TSM's items, they're looking to fight early with Morello's and Leandri's rush, and snowball off getting multiple dragons and setting up a siege with Janna disengage. However, TSM's comp is all in onto these fights or on objectives because of their poor auto range to hit turrets that will need to stall out games with their wave clear if they do fall behind, and rely on Janna and Rumble ults to deter any potential dives. As for Unicorns of Love's team composition, it is really all over the place because of their jungle Twisted Fate. From what I can tell, they were obviously trying to look to get out an early gank with Twisted Fate and look to match Pantheon's ganks or split push with him as he builds more attack speed. Lucian is a meta pick that just deals good damage, has great wave clear, and solid poke. Thresh and LeBlanc can create picks if Unicorn controls vision around turrets and river objectives, and for Gnar, it is a solid tank with the potential to bully other tanks out of lane. It's hard for me to discuss what really could have been done with Unicorn's team composition because of their specific goal that they had in mind with their jungle TF strategy. But the builds could have used some work. First, taking a look at the Gnar. His Randuin's is a below average purchase because only Sivir relies on attack speed for TSM, and Vizicsacsi could have rushed a Locket and have a Warmogs to make sure that he never die in a team fight. Locket's AoE aura and active would have been able to keep UoL topped off during the fight I'm about to showcase. Also, with Locket's passive and Merc Treads in addition to the Wits and MR, Kikis could have had a Zhonya's as his first defensive item, making him do more damage or pulling off a Messiah initiate. Unlike Power of Evil, Vizicsacsi was not super far ahead of his lane opponent, and the Hexdrinker rush did prevent him from ever dying to Rumble 1v1, and it allowed him to pressure Rumble. But Gnar in this composition doesn't need to do that much damage when he has an on-hit TF, snowballing LeBlanc and a Lucian behind him. Without any further ado, let's get this team fight rolling.
Or a LeBlanc assassination. But boy, 8,000 gold coming into this one. They're going.
So here we see the Rumble ult, which cuts across UoL and chunks out Gnar and Lucian. I've drawn some dotted lines because I believe TSM should have gone all in rather than back off like the hardlines show. At this point, TSM should have all in onto Gnar and TF with Sivir ult and Janna's Zephyr passive, especially since Gnar does not have a full rage bar to turn the engage around. However, what TSM does is motion back and forth, letting the UoL members escape. This also shows a flaw in TSM's team composition in that they have no AoE hard CC like a Jarvan ult or a Leona ult to hold everyone in place. If TSM was also communicating that they would use Rumble ult, they could have started channeling Pantheon's ult as well to cut off the retreating members of UoL. TSM ends up wasting Rumble's ult as they are scared from the pick pressure that LeBlanc and Thresh exert on their top side. TSM should have gone hard doing one of the methods I mentioned, or peeled back and set up wards behind them and on the right side while they shove mid to try and brute force the turret down.
Oh, there's a Rumble ultimate and really catching Vizicsacsi a little bit, taking him down to half HP there.
Now we can see Power of Evil jump in the fray and attempts to lock someone down and burst him with his DFG. hopefully shoving TSM off the dragon. Because of Power of Evil's kill pressure, he burns Turtle's ult when Power of Evil can only really burst Lustboy and Bjergson, as Sivir's Spell Shield, Janna's Shield, Rumble's Scrap Shield, and Pantheon's build prevent them from being insta-git. So far, Power of Evil has obviously taken a huge amount of attention from TSM's shot caller and is doing very well taking pressure off his team, allowing Gnar to build Rage on the Rift Scuttler. Ideally in this scenario, it should be Gnar and Thresh in the front line trying to burn TSM's important cooldowns, and LeBlanc on the side of the fight looking for a flank to pick off the squishier members of TSM. In this instance, you can really see that TSM's shot caller is not making the best decisions, and Power of Evil is trying his hardest to make something happen with his team's suboptimal positioning. The fight is going to shift downwards along the giant purple arrow towards the dragon in the bottom lane, as TSM tries to capitalize on Turtle's ult and Bjergson's poke.
As they call him, Power of Evil will try and dive in. They didn't really get much damage off Power of Evil actually.
As TSM chases trying to put enough damage onto a member of Unicorns of Love, they don't really have a champion with hard CC around the squishy members of UoL, besides Janna, whose tornado is suboptimal for catches and picks, at it is better used for disengaging fights or breaking dashes such as LeBlanc's. Hellasong will pop his ult and flash Lustboy's tornado while Power of Evil is looking to re-engage from the back, only to get exhausted by Lustboy, which was a great play on Lust's part as it prevents UoL from all-inning during Exhaust's duration. TSM unfortunately has overextended in attempts to capitalize on Turtle's ult, and Darius gets stunned and rooted by TF and LeBlanc even though he burned Flash.
Using his ultimate there, that's a good Howling Gale coming through. Kikis is going to turn around, Power of Evil comes back in, but he's exhausted.
Hellasong and Power of Evil so far have been monsters in controlling the pace of this fight. Hellasong comes up huge, getting a hook onto Darius and sealing his fate. Meanwhile, Power of Evil gets the attention of the rest of TSM's members and flashes away as he drags them up towards Red Side's blue buff. This gives enough time for UoL to kill Darius and pressure Turtle so hard that he burns both his summoners to escape. It was not wrong in my opinion for Turtle to burn his summoners in this case, because in a majority of the scenarios he would simply be trading summoners with another person on Unicorns of Love's side. Turtle is probably thinking to himself that he has Bjergson's stun, Centauran's stun, and both Lust's ult and tornado to peel UoL's only tank off of him. However, Lust doesn't have enough mana and Bjergson uses the last of his to get a very good Xerath Q off.
Darius that were their first target, they managed to get that kill. Power of Evil surviving up the other side.
Various members of Unicorns of Love are extremely low and are a few silver crits, a shift proc, and a silver Q from death. TSM needs to get in there onto Kiki's. I would have really liked to see a flash from Centauran into the fight while the gold card was in mid-flight to all in and potentially get TSM back into this game, or flash away from the rest of his team. TSM positions themselves very poorly, namely Turtle, as he walks back into his team, and they start funneling into a choke point without mana and without summoners on many of their champions. TSM needed to hard engage much sooner, or just turn around and shove a lane when Turtle first used his ultimate, as being in the choke point makes them a good target for Lucian, LeBlanc, Static Shiv, and TF AoE damage, all of which pales in comparison to what actually happens. Unicorns of Love is now all in on this play, even though they got chunked by Bjergson, as Kiki flashed forward to get a stun on Centauran. And finally, I pause here just to witness a beautiful Gnar by Vizichachi. Unicorns of Love clean up and chase down the remaining TSM members, picking up the dragon and a middle turret, turning Power of Evil's lane domination into a team-wide lead.
There is Vizichachi, gets the 4-man ultimate as well, and now Bardix comes in. What more can they get here? TF once again into the back line. It's only Lustboy left alive. He'll be closed down. Power of Evil should be able to finish this one off, and there it is. And it is an ace for the Unicorns of Love. A triple kill going over to Power of Evil, and they didn't even lose one man.
And that is going to be the dragon on top of it. What a fight from Unicorns of Love. The beginning of the fight was actually played pretty well by TSM. They played around the rage bar really well, kiting back when he went into Mega Gnar. But then Darius got a little bit too far out front, got caught. This is going to be not only dragon, but another turret here and a large minion wave on the top side of the inhibitor turret.
And it's chain stuns too, so once you get caught out of position for a little while, you're basically dead. Twisted Fate stun, LeBlanc tether, as well as the Thresh hook can all be comboed in, and even though they played around the rage bar, because of the extent
Like always, thanks for watching, and now you can follow me on Twitter and keep your eyes out for more content produced by me.